Hey, this is JD, also known as S3 Prototype, here at RTX 2015. Of course you guys know that. You've been watching everything else.
Plus it says it.
Yeah, it's all over the place. You can't miss it.
Steal this from RTX and bring it somewhere else.
If you don't know who this gentleman here, it is Greg Miller. Greg Miller, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you, JD?
I am fantastic. So I wanted to talk about Kinda Funny.
Yeah,
I mean, it is your, it is your brand. It is
right.
you. So how did the name Kinda Funny come around?
When I had come back from this VidCon, I had decided that I wanted to make YouTube content. And so I already had a YouTube channel as GameOverGreggy because that's like my persona online or whatever. And so initially, the show I started with was a conversation with Colin. So I was like, hey, Colin, my roommate, you say crazy things, do this video with me. All right, cool. I'm like, we'll split the money we make on YouTube, which obviously is $0 for the longest of times. And then we had two guys who filmed with us. They were our friends, Tim and Nick. I was like, Tim and Nick, do you want some money from this? And they're like, no, just buy us pizza. Don't worry about it. And so as everything grew, we added more shows and we started getting more popular and then falling in love with making YouTube content. We, launched the GameOverGreggy show, this weekly podcast that all four of us were on, and we became a company. You know what I mean?
You became your own brand, essentially.
Right. And so once we had become an or we had filed paperwork to be S corp, I believe, and all this other. Nick's the business guy. Once we had filed to be a corporation,
sign the papers. Yeah, just
whatever.
Make it happen.
I'm just smoking cigars. I'm like, whatever, make it happen. We had that conversation of all right, well, we're getting to that next step, and the next step needs to be bigger than just Greg. It can't. We can't quit our jobs and do something else and have it be GameOverGreggy, because that's weird for Nick to go, hey everybody, I'm one of the co-hosts of GameOverGreggy. Like, are you Greg? Like, what are you talking? No, I'm Nick. It's this kind of, So we needed a name, and we went around and spitballed and did a million different things. And I have this thing that looks like, Colin always says it looks like Diary of a Madman, and it's the back of my plane ticket where I wrote like how they teach you to brainstorm in fifth grade, where you put something in a circle and then you draw the line off to another circle. Yeah. I had a million names on that, and Nick or Tim had come up with Kinda Funny night one and had that in his head that Kinda Funny should be the name. It sums what we all of our content is kinda funny. Even when we're being serious, we're kinda funny about it. And he said that, and then we went on probably another 2 hours of arguing at the kitchen table trying to figure it out, and we're like, all right, let's call it for the night. And then the story goes that him and Nick were walking to their cars, and I think Nick might have been giving him a ride. Nick was walking and smoking a cigarette, and Tim's like, I don't know, man, I'm just saying Kinda Funny could be it. And Nick takes a cigarette, turns it to Tim, and he's just like, I already fucking told you, I will never be part of a company called Kinda Funny. Got on the car all mad, and then we eventually sat down and we're like, the name needs to have the best name would hit all these check marks, right?
Yeah.
And we went through and Kinda Funny had the most, and it was like, well, that's the best we can come up with, so maybe we should believe in that. And so then, now it's second nature. Now it is us. It's so of course that's a great name. And why were we ever weirded out by that?
You have the Patreon going. You have weekly shows plural. How do you have find time to do this?
I mean, we shove it all into a day, and it's really, really stressful and crazy. You know what I mean? Every day, we have the Twitch product, right? Twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames, which for us is Colin and Greg Live, our daily talk show at 11 a.m. And so every morning is pre-production on that, setting that up, getting that ready, then doing that. We end that show, we have lunch, and then the rest of the day is usually dominated by making content. So Monday is generally, let's do a bunch of Let's Plays. Tuesday is generally, let's do the Gamescast and the GameOverGreggy show back-to-back. Wednesday is generally crazy. Right there, it sounds like the rest of the week should be easy, but we constantly find ways to fill it in.
There's tons of post-production to do.
Right, yeah, I mean, geez, not even counting the editing, yeah, but I mean, we're putting in special shows like nicknames, or we're going to branch out and do more oration, or do this or do that. All that stuff starts filling in, let alone the fact that, twice a month we do Patreon Q&As on Wednesdays and this, that, and the other. Thursday is our publish day for Patreon content early. Thursday and Friday afternoons are generally open, but then you figure right now we're doing this stretch where it's 4 conventions in 5 weeks. So what that means is usually we leave Wednesday night. Sometimes we leave Thursday. You're gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Fly back Sunday. Then you're home Monday, Tuesday, and then either leave Wednesday or leave Thursday again. So it's shoving it all down and condensing it. So we don't even know what real weeks feel like anymore. We don't even know what a normal week feels like.
It's just consecutive days of schedule.
Yeah. It's just that last weekend was the first weekend I'd had in 3 weeks. So it was sitting down and you're like, oh yeah, I can just play games. I can play Ground Zero. It's good. I can hang out.
What's your percentage on Ground Zeroes?
Low. I mean, it's still that's still my deal, is I want to have it that 100%ed by the time I get to Fan of Pain. And that'll happen, because right now I've pretty much got it backed into the corner of, now I just need to S-rank everything.
And I'm plateaued. I'm like, what, screw this game. I'm playing the app. So, so you did get to play the Fan of Pain.
I did 2 days of it.
2 days of it.
2 days of it. Like the things I always say about 2 days of it is, it's my game of the year so far. You know what I mean? Like I haven't played Fallout, so we'll see. That's what on my horizon that I see would be the next big challenge.
You were mentioning that on the someone was mentioning that on the podcast. That, you know, one will overtake the other.
Right.
Depending
Exactly.
on which voice.
Exactly. So, but what's fascinating about it is, like, you know, I've played 2 days of it, and I can't get it out of my head. You know what I mean? Like, all I want to do is play more of this game. All I want to do is sit down and play this nonstop and get everything unlocked and get every weapon upgraded and S rank every mission, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's a huge game, so it's like that's actually going to be like, when I get my hands on it, I'm very interested to see how long it lasts, because, you know, like, I'm not trying to put any other games down, but like Witcher I burned down on eventually. Something else came along and I was like, I don't want to go back to it, but like I really feel like I'm going to shut down for Metal Gear and just play that. You know what I mean? Like I was
There's going to be a content lockout where you're just going to be playing Metal Gear.
Yeah, and like that was the thing of, like, I was talking, you know, I bought this second screen that plugs into the PS4 that can power it, and it's one of the game's screens, right? And so I was talking to Christina, like, I was thinking about bringing it and playing Ground Zeroes on the plane, and she's like, don't be that guy. Like, don't be the guy who's got his PS4 plugged in off the tray into this. I'm like, fine, but you understand, when Phantom Pain comes out, like, that's going everywhere with me. You know what I mean? Like, for the foreseeable future, until, like, I'm 100% done, that game is with me, like, everywhere we go. Because even if I can only play for 30 minutes, I'm going to play for 30 minutes.
Or you could do the Wii U route, where you just take your Vita with you and just remote right into it.
Right. Well, that's the thing is, like, you know, if I can get the TV, or if I can get the PS4 plugged in, it's just USB off to that screen.
Yeah.
And the screen's about the size of an iPad, so it's like, well, come on now. It's no big deal. Why would I play it on the Vita when I can get it onto this awesome screen that's 14 inches? Yeah.
What games do you see on the horizon? I know, like, Persona, Dancing All Night.
Dancing All Night, next one. Or I guess actually the next one's Volume. That Mike Bithell game from the guy who did Thomas Was Alone. Are you familiar with this?
Yes.
Like, Volume is that stealth action game. It looks awesome. It looks like, you know, like VR missions for Metal Gear, which is, like, totally up my alley. Yeah, I'm in for that. You know what I mean? So, like, that on the Vita will be huge for me. It'll be that. It'll be Persona. It'll be Metal Gear. Then it gets, you know, into this, like, I'll be in this Metal Gear haze for a while. And, yeah, Fallout will be the next huge thing. Tomb Raider I hope to make time for. I hope I'm off the Metal Gear Fallout train by then, but who knows, you know what I mean, in terms of Fallout, because that game never ends now, apparently.
Fallout never ends, and plus they just announced that the MGO schedule is now in October.
Yeah, which is weird, and again, for me, like, online stuff I just don't care about. Like, I'm just not a multiplayer guy, so, like, everyone's like all offended. I'm like, I don't care. Can I just, does that mean we get it sooner? Could you just give me Phantom Pain now? Can we just get it on the store? You know what I mean? Like, I'm dying for that game, and that's weird, because I feel like I really haven't had a game like that in a long time. That, like, you know, where it's like scratching at the back of your brain at all times. You're just like, oh, I need to play it. I need to play it.
Besides Metal Gear, what games would you ever that's similar to that kind of?
I mean, for me, it's all the N64 wrestling games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was a huge. I got my N64 late. I was big into WCW, NWO Revenge, but I was a WWF kid. So when WrestleMania 2000 happened, and then when No Mercy happened, that was like full on, hey mom, I'm not going to school on Friday. Like, I'm staying home. I was in high school. I'm not going to school on Friday. I'm going to sit home and play these games. You know what I mean? Like, here's the homework, and and like, all right, fine, whatever. You know what I mean? It would be like the rush home, rush to Walmart. That was one of those games where I called every store, like, hoping somebody broke Street Date. I'll never forget when somebody broke Street Date on No Mercy, or maybe it was WrestleMania 2000, where they broke Street Date on that. And the guy's like, yeah, I have it. I'm like, what? You have it right now?
What?
Yeah, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. Slam the phone down, get in the car, like, drive like a maniac to Walmart to get it, then drive to my friend's house and gave him all the newspapers that I was in charge of. I'm like, you got to put these out tomorrow because I'm not coming to school.
To me, I feel like we're in a weird slump of games. Like, they'll keep pushing out new games, and they'll say, oh, it's the new action-packed, and all of a sudden it just fizzles.
That's part of the console cycle getting its legs, right? You know what I mean? Like, when you played Infamous Second Son, you're like, this is so much fun to run and traverse and da-da-da, but it feels like a launch game. You know what I mean? This is going to be a game we look back at, and it's like, oh, how quaint that it was like this. You know what I mean? Like, there was so much dead space or area. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it is, like, 3 years from now.
I hope not. I vested into the PS4. I'm kind of looking into getting a Xbox One pretty soon.
Yeah.
I bought all my Rock Band content on there.
Yeah, that's the big concern I have with Rock Band, right? Is the fact that I had all my songs and DLC on 360, and I want it on PS4, and it's just like, God, what do I do?
I did this wrong. I did this all wrong. What is the future Let's Plays that you want to do?
So then for sure, there'll be a lot of Metal Gear on the channel. Like, for sure. Like, how I package that, I don't know, right? We put up a Let's Play a day. So we want to start doing 2, because does anybody really want 9 months of Metal Gear with Greg? I don't know. We'll find out, I'm sure. Fallout, obviously. Like, anything that's open like that, you really see more of a, a legacy with of what's gonna happen, right? Like, you know, some games
You should do a Twitch marathon of Metal Gear.
I bet I will. I think that's pretty much guaranteed. Fallout, remember too, I ordered the collector's edition, so every time I stream it, I'm gonna wear the Pip-Boy in my hoodie and totally be a super nerd. But beyond that, like, I want to go back. I still need to figure out a solution to have the N64 streaming No Mercy. Because I had the adapters and all these different things, but then they broke. And I bought new ones, and they aren't working correctly. And it's like, damn it. You know what I mean? Like, I need to crack this nut so I can actually get this done so I can go and do that.
Hobbies as a kid, outside of video games.
Comics. I mean, I was a huge comics kid. Still, and now I am a huge comics guy now. I grew up into a guy.
Okay. Don't we all?
Yeah,
well, at least for the guy side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, I was giant comic dude, and still am. That was my main hobby, though. I mean, it was that and it was toys. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that's a hobby that permutates into everything, right? Where I remember having that drawer full of action figures of everything, and I'm talking about like through high school still having action figures. I remember the first girlfriend I brought over and giving her a tour of the room, and I'm like, here's where I keep my toys, and she's like, what? And I'm like, okay, in high school people don't have toys. Got it. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that out loud.
So, what's on the future horizons for Kind of Funny?
For Kind of Funny right now, it's charting probably the next 6 months to a year of us. You know what I mean? Like, we came out and we really haven't had like a content conference, a plan since, you know, right before we launched. Right now it's been enacting on that plan, and now we're to the point of like, we have 2 new shows we know we need to do in our heads that we're excited to get to and we need to get to quicker. It's like Thursday after this interview, right, we're going off site from the house, sitting down and planning what the future is, and like, what are the things we have to hit, what is and isn't working, how do we make what we do better, and how do we maximize the days. I was telling, you know, somebody else earlier today that like, you know, we've come out and we've done, like I was saying, so many, like, you know, four cons in 5 weeks, but that's forgetting MomoCon and forgetting E3 and forgetting the other PAX. Like, we've done so many shows this summer that I think you're going to see us go the opposite now, and maybe to finish out this year, do PlayStation Experience, maybe New York Comic Con if we can figure a way out there. If there's another PlayStation Experience, go to that. And then the next year around, though, maybe only do a couple of these shows and like really get down and maximize what our week is.
Hone down on what your brand is.
Right, yeah, because I mean, we have so many great ideas for shows, and like, it's been, you know, one giant party since January of like, hey, this is who we are, and we're happy to be here. Like, it's exciting to go back now to these shows and be like, hey, last year I was here as IGN, but we couldn't talk about what we're doing Kind of Funny, but now that's all we do, and you know what I mean? But like, so now it's time to get back to work. I feel like we've had a really fun summer of getting out there, but now it's time to maximize those weeks and make sure that Wednesday afternoon is the new show, and Thursday afternoon is the second new show, and here's how we make sure we are growing the way we want to grow.
So where can we find all your content, sir?
You can find all our content at kindoffunny.com. It's KINDA, funny spelled normally, .com, like the internet. Yeah, there used to be Greg Miller's Lockpicking for Beginners and Greg Miller, the Elvis impersonator. I feel like I've passed them. I feel like they aren't coming up as high in the Google search results.
I wonder how they feel. They'd be like, man, this guy's taking all my searches.
They got it. I like to think they look at it and like the Elvis Presley guy's like, yes, do it.